everyone! I am here with
Greg, Alba,
and John Humphrey.
I trained them well. Okay, so this video is actually about Johnny Depp. And the person who suggested this was
Johnny Depp himself.
Yes. He's a big fan of the channel.
Yes, thank you, Johnny Depp, for watching my channel. Let me actually open it because I don't. Carl
Oles Jr.
Any dick pics on there?
I do, 17, in fact. Carl A. Maxey Jr. suggested.
Hey, Carl Jr. indeed.
Carl Jr.
Well done. 5 favorite Johnny Depp films. So, I didn't want to do this one alone because, Gregory, and I'll tell you, it's because I love your Johnny Depp impression. So I'm serious. This is why I asked you to go on here, because I was like, I have to do this with Greg. And then, of course, John kind of invited himself.
Guys, I can
Cue that footage.
No! I love you. So you're invited.
roll that beautiful bean.
Yeah, no, I was honored to have you both, so I'm glad that you could get to.
Of course, thanks for inviting us.
Of course.
Thanks for being inclusive when I butt into this.
Hey, you know what? You're part of the fam. You're allowed to butt in.
Aww.
We're all fam here.
We're all fam.
Will you give us some?
When I first read the screenplay for Rango, halfway through the script, I realized I'm playing a lizard. And from there, the character just sort of evolved, yeah.
Do you have an
Bam.
impression that can legitimize your reason for
Johnny Depp is mostly based on Greg's impression.
Greg's
Yeah.
Johnny Depp.
When I first heard Greg's impression of me, I realized that's not me. And from there, I had an emotional breakdown. And that's why, you know, that's you're responsible for all this recent controversy.
Oh yeah.
Wait, there's recent controversy?
Not that recent, but you know,
damn,
semi-recent.
tell me.
Him and Amber Heard, you didn't. You,
Oh, that.
You didn't
oh,
heard
that. Oh, I
about
heard. Oh, that's old.
Amber Heard beat Johnny Depp.
I heard about that.
death.
With her dogs in Australia.
Yes, on the set of Aquaman.
I think we should start from the bottom and go to the top.
My number 5 pick, I went with Nightmare on Elm Street, Glenn Lance. You know, there's something sentimental about that movie to me where I just love seeing his first role, and I think he's really charming in that movie. So yeah, that one always comes to mind for some reason.
What about you, Greg?
Mordecai. I think. There, I got a whole other list of Johnny Depp movies I can give you. With my list, I have like a crap ton of favorite Johnny Depp performances, but if I had to pick a number 5, I would go Once Upon a Time in Mexico. I thought he was fascinating in that film because everyone showed up for El Mariachi, and everyone walked away thinking how cool Johnny Depp was in that movie. And to me, he has the right blend of weird, psychotic character, but in a realistic take. So he's not too cartoony and he's not too realistic. It's like the perfect blend of what makes Johnny Depp Johnny Depp.
Mine was actually A Nightmare on Elm Street too, and I have nothing to add to that, so I'm gonna go with exactly what you said, because I had the same reason.
Efficient filming.
Yeah.
My number 4, I actually went with Rango. Because that movie. I want
like,
you to try.
No,
Please
no,
try.
I'm gonna stop myself right there.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's a voice acting performance, but when I saw that movie, I was really dazzled by it, and I thought he brought a lot of expression to that voiceover role. I thought he brought a lot to that character, even though it's only his voice, you know, accentuating the mannerisms and stuff. I think he does a terrific job.
My number 4 pick would have to be The Astronaut's Wife. Okay, so I got a whole other Johnny Depp list going on.
Tourist.
Let's see how many more I could do. My number 4 pick would have to be Johnny Depp in the movie Ed Wood. That film is one of his many collabs with Tim Burton, and what I loved about this specific collab is it's his most authentic performance, I feel, that he's done with Tim Burton. Like, you've seen movies like Sweeney Todd and Edward Scissorhands and whatnot, but this one was a biopic, and he does such a great job at blending in with the time period and the era and embodying who Ed Wood was. So it's a performance that really honors who Ed Wood, the director, was, at the same time giving an insight into humanity to a guy who was really criticized in the film field.
My number 4 was actually Secret Window. Because yeah, Secret Window, I just loved his performance in that because it was a different take on his normal character roles. You know what I mean? And it gave him a little bit of seriousness, which I really like to see him play.
I don't believe I know you.
Yeah.
And a chance to play Stephen King.
Honestly, it was great. It's a wonderful movie. I don't want to give any spoilers, so I'm not going to say too much about it. Definitely watch it.
Amber Heard kills him in the end.
Don't tell with the dog. Okay, fine. You know now. But yeah, it's a great movie. I loved the like twist ending on that one. It was just amazing. So that was my number 4 for sure.
You know, the book was called Secret Window, Secret Garden.
You know what's funny? When I was looking it up, I typed Secret Garden because I thought it was Secret Garden because I remember that. I was like, it's Secret Garden, right?
Yeah, a whole
And I looked
different
it up,
movie.
And I was like, wait a minute, that's not the right. I was like, oh, Secret Window. Well done, idiot. So I found the right choice.
Number 3, I'm going with Raoul Duke in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Another one of those like biopic roles, kind of similar to why I enjoyed him in Ed Wood as well. Like he's taking a real guy, but also playing it as a heightened, immersive character, and it's just such a specific, whacked out, iconic role. And he's there's a reason that everybody does that impression.
Goddamn boots.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
in some ways his portrayal of Hunter Thompson as Raoul Duke, is even more Hunter Thompson.
It's way accurate.
Yeah. So, you can't even think of Hunter Thompson now without thinking of Johnny Depp too, and he's just terrific in that movie.
Yeah.
That is a really good movie.
My number 3 choice would have to be Johnny Depp in. Oh man, you already took the tourist joke.
Oh, don't worry, there's so many more.
Cut that one out. Go ahead, girl.
Yoga hosers.
Just keep taking.
I'm trying to help you.
Are you though, John?
I'm gonna
Are
shut
you?
up forever.
My number 3 choice would have to be the movie he did with Al Pacino, Donnie Brasco. I saw this movie when I was a little boy, and this film, what I really loved about his performance here is he only has a mustache for like the first 20 minutes of the film, but beyond that, it's just his face and his hair slicked back, and he's not all Johnny Depped out, and he's not playing a weird dude at all. It's a super subtle performance, very realistic, yet he's so engaging, and his performance is still on par with the great Al Pacino, and he creates dynamite chemistry with him. And I feel like it's one of his most underrated performances because we're so used to Johnny Depp playing more of like the weird outcast type, but this is a biographical performance that is just super natural and super realistic. And for a film where he's not all in makeup, you still forget you're watching Johnny Depp when you watch that movie.
My number 3 is actually Sweeney Todd because I really
Almost on my list.
appreciate. Yeah, I really appreciate his role in that movie. I love him in the Tim Burton movies. I'm so glad that they came together as a force. It's a musical. It's fun. It's like a whimsical murder mystery type thing because it's like there's twists in that as well. And it's just a beautiful performance by Johnny Depp. That's one of the weirdo roles I feel that he's not like so weird that the movie's kind of like, okay, Willy Wonka, let's push this aside,
I like his weird.
I mean, I do too.
It's weird.
But,
It's really weird.
But yeah, it is. And it's like, the Mad Hatter type of thing or whatever. It's like he can be as weird as he wants in that role, but it doesn't take away from the movie and make the movie like, oh, Johnny Depp's being a weirdo again, So that's what I really liked about Sweeney Todd.
Who, sir? You, sir? I love that movie so much. I should have put that on the list.
Yeah,
Anyway.
it's a really good movie.
My number 2 is Johnny Depp as Ichabod Crane in Sleepy Hollow, which is, I feel, is one of the sort of more underrated Tim Burton movies, especially the later period Tim Burton movies. I love that movie. I pull it out every Halloween. And Johnny Depp, you can see some of the early mannerisms that will inform, what Jack Sparrow is, but I just love this sort of twist into he's just so awkward and dainty, and he does a really great job at that, and expanding on, a character that we already know from the story, like the classic Washington Irving story. He really makes it his own in a world that's sort of a complete synthesis between the classic story and, Tim Burton without getting too crazy with it. It's the right pitch of the middle ground, and I think he really shines in that.
My number 2 pick is that vampire movie that I forgot the title to. Damn it! I'm running out of jokes.
The Libertine?
No, what's the? Just damn it, John.
Twilight! God.
No, what's that vampire
Greg,
movie?
it's Twilight.
The one
The
movie
where he's on like weird, sharp, pointed
The Tim
hair.
Burton one.
Oh, Barnabas Collins' Dark Shadows.
Dark
Yeah,
Shadows. That was the punchline. It's not that.
We tried.
All right. My number 2 pick would have to be Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl. Despite whatever people might feel towards the sequels that came later, this one, I revisited it this year, and it's still a magical performance. It's a performance in a film that it cost like $300 billion to put together, and there's so much craziness going on. But the number one takeaway you get is this lovable, kind of mean, kind of sexist, alcoholic pirate in a Disney movie. And he has so many quotes in the film, and I think it was the performance. I remember being in the theater and watching, I think it was a scene when he's stranded on the island with Keira Knightley, and thinking, holy crap, is this the guy who was in Edward Scissorhands? Is this the guy who was in all these other movies? So it really dawned on me how much of a character actor this guy is. And in that film, it's amazing how there's so much grandness going on in it, yet this bold, risky choice he made with how to portray this pirate with all the Johnny Deppisms that you could think of is the number one takeaway, and is the number one thing that keeps this franchise alive.
Besides Orlando Bloom.
Yeah, no, that's actually a really good choice, and it is one of my choices as well. Not specifically that movie, but that is my number 2 choice, Pirates of the Caribbean. His portrayal of Jack Sparrow is amazing. I know he took a lot of inspiration from Mick Jagger for that role, which I think is amazing because you can see it.
Yeah, I got a question. Is Mick Jagger and Keith Richards the same person?
No.
Because didn't he take inspiration from Keith Richards?
As well?
No, it was Keith Richards who took inspiration
I
for
thought it was Mick Jagger.
I think that, yeah, because that's why it was a big deal when Keith Richards showed up.
Because
to
Keith
play
Richards
Dad.
is in 3 and 4.
Because I thought he was very Mick Jagger in the role.
Yeah, you
I mean,
This whole time!
with you.
This whole time I thought it was Mick Jagger.
Yeah.
When I watched the movies, I honestly saw that.
Jack Sparrow is all of the Rolling Stones.
Okay, so that makes sense why he was in the movie. Okay, see?
We're gonna get Mick
This is-
Jagger, but we got Keith Richards.
This is
We got
why
the guitar guy.
I hang out with movie buffs so they can like correct my brain from thinking the wrong thing. I really thought he was like doing this whole like Mick Jagger-y. I thought he was like Jagger.
It actually
you
makes
know?
more sense to me. I feel like the physical appearance is where he got Keith Richards, but I feel like the movement's a little
Yeah,
more
I thought
Mick
that was like very
Yeah.
Mick Jagger. Well, thank you for correcting me. I wish I would have caught it
It's
earlier.
all Ringo Starr.
It is,
That's
actually.
who Jack really
He was
is.
inspired by the Beatles. Yes. Even his charisma in that character is just something that I'm very much drawn to. So for me, I find like the whole series of the Pirates, I can't pick like which one. There's obviously ones that are better than the others, but I feel like Captain Jack Sparrow is just all throughout it. He's just great.
Yeah, he's a monumental character.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's my number 2. What's your number 1 choice?
And piggybacking off that, man, I mean, Johnny Depp is Captain Jack in 4 and 5 of the Pirates series. I mean, that's when he really.
That was my last
Oh,
joke, John.
man. This is why you should go first.
I feel like I'm just ruining everything.
That was my last.
He
bad
came here
Well,
specifically to
it's
ruin
all
your jokes,
payback
Gregory.
because you
Now
said-
you know why he's here.
You sort of said everything about my number 1 pick, so I guess this has all been why I've been spiting you this whole time. My number 1 pick is Ed Wood. That's my favorite movie of all time. And there's something about that performance that just resonates so much with me for whatever reason. He is a weirdo, but in a very endearing and very authentic, genuine kind of way. And yeah, of all the roles he's ever played, it has kind of everything I love about him in a way that touches me, you know. And so yeah, Ed Wood all day for me.
My number 1 pick would have to be, I think his first movie he did with Tim Burton, Edward Scissorhands. Edward Scissorhands is, beyond being a beautiful film, if we're talking strictly about Johnny Depp, this is the defining role to me of Johnny Depp. This is the one that, in terms of movie timeline history of Johnny Depp, where he was able to break away.
Sorry.
What the?
I can't do this. Just shut up.
It was that performance that he did where he was finally able to really break away and steer clear of everything we thought of him from 21 Jump Street. Beyond that too, it's kind of a quiet performance. It's a really body language driven performance. A lot of it is in the eyes and the subtlety. And yet, it's the one time where even when I'm looking at him, I kind of compare it to Heath Ledger as the Joker, where I'm like, I just don't see Johnny Depp at all. Even if I like, every movie I listed, I can consciously go, that's Johnny Depp, and then I see Johnny Depp. But this is the one movie where whenever I'm watching any image of him on screen, I have the hardest time fathoming that is actually Johnny Depp. And because that whole performance is, we're kind of used to him being a little wacky, loud, and whatever. This one is very subdued, but it's still the weird Johnny Depp that we really love, and it's a very touching and sensitive performance while at it.
I feel like the wackiness came after that, didn't it?
Yeah,
Like, we
I
got
think
to
it was
see-
Jack Sparrow that really launched the wackiness.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was, definitely where people were like, oh, wacky character role, let's get Johnny Depp to play this. But I do think that you're right. My number one pick is actually Crybaby, because, no, it's not. It's Edward Scissorhands.
People love
I took a jump
I went with the,
people who love
I
Crybaby.
love you guys for going along with that. You're like, oh, nice pick, Anita. See, these are true friends.
Yeah,
These
it's
are
like you
my
have
real
your own
friends.
opinion. Yeah.
No, I do appreciate it.
It is
No.
Edward Scissorhands?
Yeah, it is
Okay,
Edward
cool.
Scissorhands, because like I didn't actually watch Crybaby yet. It's because it's a Tim Burton role for him, and it was like that breakout Tim Burton role character, and I was like, this is perfect, and it's my favorite person in the world, and he did a great job just being this sweet little Edward Scissorhands, romancy, lovey, I'll do anything for this girl character, and I just fell in love with him even more. I was like, this is real, right?
Sequel!
Yeah, seriously, why?
It has more scissors.
I mean,
Talking about Beetlejuice too, they can do Edward Scissorhands again. Too.
I would
Cross them
so
over.
happy if they
Edward
came out with
Beetlehands.
that.
Every one of his fingers is Beetlejuice.
Johnny Depp could just do his weirded out face the whole time.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much for coming on and like talking about your favorite Johnny Depp movies.
Of course.
And as Johnny Depp, can you tell them where they can find you on the internet here?
You can find us on The Real Rejects. Yeah. You can subscribe to Anita Star. Gazer. That John Humphrey on Twitter and Instagram. Yeah. And I'm at the Greg Alba.
Check out their Patreon page, and check out my Patreon page as well. I will have an extended version of this video where you get to see more of these two beautiful men.
It's even wider.
And they're gonna talk a lot more, and you'll probably see some blooperies that you're not gonna see on my channel, so that's gonna be a thing. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and we will see you later, Stargazer. Bye!
Have you ever felt?
Are you listening?
Dude,
Go on.
I'm hungry now.
Interrupt, Anita, every second we get.
I like it, though. It's like real life when I try to talk to you.
Yeah!
So.